but it was also to specifically try to ensure that Jim Key, in his capacity as UUA moderator, held UUA President Reverend Dr. Peter Morales responsible for falsely accusing me of blasphemous libel, etc. Well, Jim Key broke off communications in the fall of 2013 and proceeded to brazenly lie about clergy sexual abuse in general and clergy sexual abuse of children specifically in a UUA board apology to victims of Unitarian Universalist clergy sexual misconduct that he inserted into the middle of his first moderator's report to a General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association in June of 2014. So not only did UUA moderator Jim Key do absolutely nothing to ensure that the UUA formally withdrew its false blasphemous libel accusation against me, did nothing to ensure that the UUA apologized to me, did nothing to ensure that UUA President Peter Morales and anyone else who was involved in the UUA's false blasphemous libel accusation against me faced accountability. Nothing to ensure that the truth was told about such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers, but he did worse than that. He actually outright lied about the sexual abuse of children in what was supposed to be a UUA board official apology to victims of clergy sexual misconduct. In his apology, he said, and this is an exact quote to the best of my knowledge, "There were no incidents of abuse of children or elders in my investigations." So he was claiming to have personally investigated the clergy sexual abuse, clergy sexual misconduct, and that in his own personal investigations he found no evidence of any abuse of children or elders, as if Unitarian Universalist ministers chase after the old people in their congregations for sexual gratification. It's just incredible that Jim Key would outright lie about the sexual abuse of children by Unitarian Universalist ministers in what was supposed to be an apology to victims of clergy sexual misconduct. He essentially told every person who was sexually abused by a Unitarian Universalist minister when they were a child that you do not exist. It didn't happen. Just completely outrageous. So the Unitarian Universalists just wallow in lies and bullshit and false accusations of criminal acts to hide criminal acts committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. I mean, it's just outrageously hypocritical that Unitarian Universalists are falsely accusing me of a criminal act, specifically blasphemous libel, in perversion of justice that seeks to hide pedophilia and rape within the Unitarian Universalist religious community. So that's why we're here today. We're here to bring this to the attention of the members of the eastern region of the Canadian Unitarian Council. Now, right now, they're inside the church. There's a service going on. I expect it will be ending soon and people will eventually be coming out. I didn't see a whole lot going in. I might have been a little bit on the late side arriving. I arrived around 10 o'clock. The service started at 10:30, so a good half hour before the service, but I guess people might have showed up even earlier, most of them. I saw about a dozen or so people going in, perhaps, maybe 20 at most. But I can see 20 cars out here, and I'm sure there's others that I can't see. So I'm pretty sure there must have already been people inside, when I first showed up. I probably should have got here more like 9:30, but traffic conditions and so on just didn't make that very feasible. So we will wait for people to come out after the service, as I sometimes do when I protest in front of the Unitarian Church in Montreal. I got somebody coming this way, not a Unitarian to the best of my knowledge. Sure. Les Unitarian Universalistes abusent la loi anti-blasphème du Canada pour cacher la pédophilie et viol dans leur église.
C'est pas du bon monde?
Je dis que les autres gradés, si on veut, le Vatican de l'église m'a faussement accusé du crime de libelle blasphématoire contre l'Église unitarienne universaliste pour m'intimider, pour me faire effacer des blog posts qui parlaient des pédophiles et des violeurs dans l'Église. Alors certainement les autres gradés, le Vatican, le pape des Unitariens, avec les Unitariens universalistes c'est un président, mais les autres gradés à Boston m'ont faussement accusé de libelle blasphématoire. Ça c'est un crime. Pour essayer de cacher la pédophilie et le viol dans l'Église. Moi, j'ai parlé de pédophilie et viol en Amérique, aux États-Unis, mais quand même, ça c'est l'Église canadienne. Et d'après moi, l'Église canadienne doit protester contre ça. Ça veut dire que s'ils ne protestent pas contre ça, ils sont complices là-dedans. Ouais.
Vous avez appelé les journaux qui viennent vous filmer?
Non, j'ai même pas averti les journaux aujourd'hui, mais ça va peut-être venir. Mais chose intéressante, c'est que beaucoup des membres de cette église sont des professeurs, etc., des intellectuels, et ça inclut des journalistes. Et pour l'instant, le Gazette de Montréal, le journaliste qui était le journaliste pour justice était un membre de l'Église unitarienne. Alors, quand j'ai demandé à elle de parler de ça, elle a refusé. Puis, en plus de ça, je pense qu'elle a fait des choses pour assurer que la Gazette dit rien. Parce que jusqu'à maintenant, la Gazette n'a rien dit. J'ai même manifesté devant la Gazette. Merci beaucoup, bonne journée. Oui. So we just had a nice chat with a francophone Québécois about the situation. He asked me what my picket signs said in French, and so I translated them for him. And in French, blasphemous libel is libelle blasphématoire. Pretty much, the same thing. And I explained to him, what it was about. I wasn't, saying that the local church was guilty of this specific thing, but that if they do not speak out against it, then they are complicit in it. And that is, why I'm here, because Montreal Unitarians have already proven themselves to be totally complicit in the Unitarian Universalist Association's misuse of blasphemy law. I eventually protested that in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, and instead of responding appropriately by demanding an explanation from the UUA, demanding that the UUA should withdraw its false blasphemous libel accusation and so on, the Montreal Unitarians chose instead to erase my chalk slogans that protest against this misuse of blasphemy law. So in suppressing my protest, in erasing my protest, they are totally 100% complicit in the Unitarian Universalist Association's misuse of blasphemy law to hide pedophilia and rape. And the same goes for any other Unitarian Universalist who tries to hide the fact that Unitarian Universalists misuse blasphemy law to hide pedophilia and rape. I mean, my protest is to bring this to the attention of Canadian Unitarians so that they can, demand justice and try to rectify the situation. And if they refuse to demand justice, and if they pretend nothing's wrong, and if they actually try to suppress my protest, as Montreal Unitarians most certainly have done, well, then they're complicit in the misuse of blasphemy law by the Unitarian Universalist Association, and by extension they're complicit in the cover-up of pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. So that's that. I think we're just about done with another half-hour segment here. Just hit the 28-minute mark. So far not a whole lot of people come out, but I expect that soon there will be people exiting the church and seeing my picket signs. Looks like the wind has picked up again. It was very windy when I arrived. It died down. Now it seems to be picking up again. But, so far so good. There's nothing to lean my freestanding picket signs up against, so I'm just leaving them lying flat just inside, a little bit back from the sidewalk. The gentleman I spoke with saw the freestanding picket signs. He had a look at them. He saw the picket signs I had in my hand, and he wanted to know what they were saying. So I told him. And it's really pretty shameful that Canadian Unitarians are so unconcerned about the Unitarian Universalist Association's misuse of Canada's blasphemy law in legal bullying that seeks to cover up and hide pedophilia and rape. The lack of concern is really, truly pathetic, I think, is the best word to describe it. And we're, as I said, coming to the end of a segment here. Yeah, just got a few seconds left, so we're going to let this run out. Then we'll start a new segment of video recording the protest.